Hello everyone and welcome to a week of Linux news for the 26th of March 2017. I know that some of these security vulnerabilities I've been covering have been depressing about the long-life kernel vulnerabilities that have been around for quite a number of years, but this item of news with Firefox is a complete contrast because the bug was discovered in the Pwn to Own contest and patched within 1 day. Well done to Mozilla. So Mozilla released Firefox version 52.0.1 on Friday, March the 17th, with a patch for the integer overflow bug that Chaitin Security Research Group leveraged in an exploit at the Pwn to Own on Thursday, March the 16th. The Beijing-based group was awarded £30,000 by the Zero Day Initiative for the exploit, which combined the Firefox bug with one in the Windows kernel. Good old Windows. So the vulnerability was rated critical by Mozilla. Softpedia report that it's now possible to watch Netflix movies using Mozilla Firefox in Linux. It took them a few years to realise that Linux could be a very important player for their video-on-demand streaming platform, and now Netflix is announcing that it finally supports playback on the Mozilla Firefox web browser. So how do you watch Netflix content with Firefox now? Well, there's no tutorial, you just go to the page and carry on watching it. That's it. Nothing special at all. If this has been the only reason you've kept Chrome on your computer, well then you can get rid of it and go back to using Firefox only. There has been an update to Kodi version 17, which is codenamed Krypton. It's just a 0.1 release. I noticed there's been quite a few complaints about Kodi, of certain add-ons not working, for example, but I actually finally got around to trying it on my home theatre PC, and the performance is terrible. I was quite impressed with the performance on my main computer, but on a lower power, lower spec home theatre PC, performance was terrible. It lagged on the video folder, music, and picture folders as well. So I have actually regressed back to Kodi 16, and performance is absolutely fine. In terms of actually playing a movie, it was no different. It was the same. It was good, decent performance there. It was just the navigation of the folders. So looking at the fixes that have been done, well, there's been an update to the Estuary and Estachi themes, so maybe that would have improved things for me. Difficult to know without trying it again, and I'm not in any rush. From InfoWorld, is Linux Mint a secure distribution? Now, I was just glancing down this article, and I came across a name I remembered there, Draco Frost, and then I glanced a bit further, and there's my name on it. So, a comment from Draco Frost on a Reddit post. Looking a bit further, the actual story refers to Myths and Misunderstandings, Linux Mint Security Record, and I don't know. I know I've covered Mint security in previous videos. Certainly there is some of that in the video I did last week about Ubuntu and Linux Mint. We have the point mentioned here about disabling the updates that may cause adverse effects to your system, the level 4 and 5 updates. Yes, I know experienced users can understand the difference and can install the updates. I was never worried about that. I'm more worried about the users who don't understand these sort of things and they just leave options as they are, and Jesse has made no mention to that in this article. Just because the option is there doesn't mean users are automatically going to take it. And then there's this story about Mint's website was hacked and their installation media was replaced. This rumour is half true and perhaps all the more powerful for it. What? The rumour's not half true, it happened. It's a fact. A factual event that has happened is not a rumour. So yeah, it was something I covered, and it was a link to the video that Draco Frost mentioned. So yes, I discussed it, but the basics are the ISO file was changed for a day, and an item of malware was inserted onto the ISO file. So anyone who downloaded it that specific day, their system could have taken part in a distributed denial of service attack. Okay, there was an issue on the website that has now been fixed, but there's been no mention of that in this article. Anyway, I'm moving along. I'm not spending any more time on that article. Another news article from Softpedia. Entroware have launched another Ubuntu laptop called Kratos, or Kratos 3000. Comes with an NVIDIA GTX 1050 graphics card and a 7th generation Kaby Lake Intel CPU. And you get a choice of Ubuntu and Ubuntu Mate. The Kratos 3000 is a 15-inch laptop featuring a matte Full HD 1920x1080 LED IPS display, up to 32GB of DDR4 RAM, either an Intel i5 or an i7 CPU, The laptop comes with a 500 gig hard drive, but you can upgrade it to a 4TB. A 4TB solid state disk? What? I didn't know you could buy those. Okay, I'm a little bit behind now on the specs of solid state disks. So pricing starts at £750 or $935 US. That is quite pricey for a computer, but it does sound a decent spec. The Ubuntu 17.04, codenamed Zesty Zappers, has hit Beta 2, the final beta stage of release. And I think we're looking at 13th of April for final release date, so not long now. A quick look through some of the release notes, and they talk a lot more about the changes being new versions. So great, new versions of applications in the kernel doesn't really interest me. I suppose one feature here, driverless printing, sounds useful. GNOME applications have been updated to version 3.24 with the exception of Nautilus, Terminal, Evolution and Software, which have all been held back. Is the Nautilus version held back because of the find by typing or something? I do believe. I'm sorry I'm going with that off the top of my head and a bit vague on that information. I've just gone right off of Nautilus because they just removed so many features over the life of it. Release notes for Ubuntu, and well, this has probably got one of the biggest changes with the version of the Plasma 5 desktop. We're now at, I think it will be 5.9.2 at least, maybe 5.9.3. That's a good few version jumps from the old Ubuntu 16.10 and Ubuntu 16.04. Ubuntu has absolutely bugger all has happened there. Ubuntu Budgie, well, this will be their first release. And from looking at it during the beta 1, it certainly seemed very stable, a lot more stable than the 16.10 release. Ubuntu GNOME, so anything much happening here? Well, I've already mentioned the GNOME version numbers have increased, so yeah, 3.24. Introduces Night Light, which can automatically reduce the blue light emitted by your computer screen at sunset or whenever you choose. The calendar app now has a week view. And for stability, the Evolution stack is at GNOME 3.22 versions. Okay, nothing else much of interest there. Ubuntu Mate, I'm not going to read much further into these. The Mate desktop has been upgraded to version 1.18 and that is now GTK 3 all around. And Ubuntu, well, absolute bugger all information there. I expect the version of the X-Face desktop has been released, but I would think it would be like one of the most prominent things they would display there, but it isn't. Moving along, the KDE Plasma 5.9.4 desktop has been released. Nothing too much in the way of changes here, it's mostly bug fixes and translation updates. I guess one notable bug fix there I did see was Kicker, fix highlighting favourites, so that's the Kicker menu. Everything else just seems to be smaller items, so nothing too much of interest. And now for this week's stupid news. Firefox gets complaint for labelling unencrypted page insecure. Yeah, that's a feature, not a bug. The operator of a website that accepts subscriber logins only over unencrypted HTTP pages has taken to Mozilla's bug reporting service to complain that Firefox is warning that a page isn't suitable for transmission of passwords. Obviously. You'll notice of insecure password and or login automatically appearing on the login for my website Oil and Gas International is not wanted and was put there without our permission. Competent web developer here. Please remove it immediately. We have our own security system and it has never been breached in more than 15 years. You'll notice is causing concern by our subscribers and is detrimental to our business. And I have to look down at some of the comments published here. Wow, there are so many things wrong. The lack of HTTPS is just one. How about all the unhandled null exception or the fact that I know this because they've turned on detailed debugging on a production server? Well, now I know what to do the next time I need free crowdsourced penetration testing services. Claiming on a public forum that your site has not been hacked during the past 15 years is open to a joyful challenge to all hackers playing around. I wish you good luck for the next 15 years because obviously, after this pretty hilarious claim, you will stay at the hot target for some time. Oh yes, too true. And that was a look at the week of Linux news. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.